I know my mother's off the phone now, so that's good. And you have to understand, it's sort of hard to be all that serious about this because who's the person that taught me how to fish? It's not unlike my grandson, but my mother. You know, she and Jake my dad went on their honeymoon on the Gunflint Trail back in the late 40s. My father wore all white shirts because that's all he owned, and my mother showed him how to fish, and he had no interest in it.
I'll take another one.
Unfortunately, he had a great interest in my mother.
Josh is the camera. I'm doing video.
Later, it was Dizzy Dean and Pee Wee Reese every Saturday, so I learned how baseball was to be played and how you were supposed to root for somebody and understand the game to really understand it. And finally, I remember I wasn't allowed to play bridge with her bridge club until I could tell her at the end of a hand what the last 4 cards were going to be, one in each of the person's hands. Unless I knew what those last 4 cards were going to be, I wasn't allowed in the game. So she is a card player, what can I tell you? If anybody's got anything they want to share before I sort of close this thing up, you're welcome to just wave or stand. I mean,
I just
yes,
want you to know your mother comes by this honestly, because I used to fish with your grandpa.
So I understand. At least that's what they called it, was going fishing. I've heard some of those stories. You know, once you're over 70 or 80, you get the real story. Now that she's over, you know, just turned 90, I'm no holds barred. Fishing goes a long way. I remember going out with my grandfather, Sam, my mother's father, out to the lighthouse, and we'd stop by and get these big sucker minnows, and back when you get lake trout and all that right off the pier, or the lighthouse on Wisconsin Point. Well, hearing no, you know, absolute violence. Yes, please. Well, Mr. Gates.
I'm amazed because she and I have been seeing each other for it's not what you think. Seeing each other once a week at least at the senior center. That's where she hangs out, plays cards.
That's what I understand.
And whatever you do. And I have the loan closet there, so I have to walk through there. And, invariably, I see her. She waves to me, and we get together for church suppers once in a while. And we have a lot of nice memories.
Well, thank you. Mark Schwartz in Minneapolis, and he and I go back to about age 14 or so.
At least.
At least. You're older than I am, remember.
I am the older brother. Although Barry is an only child, I am the brother he never had.
That is true.
And I just want to say how pleased we are to be here and be able to celebrate this with you.
Thank you.
You are a very special lady, and it's shown by the number of people who have come from out of town and near and far to be with you, but we wish you the happiest of birthdays and another healthy and happy year for years to come.
Thank you.
I'm done. I'm done. Take my plate away. I'm done. Well, thank you. Just a couple of words to close this. You know, someone very important to me once said that there's, oh, Don, please, Mr. Keither, he'll always be Mr. Keither to me, great musician and a poet and a teacher. I mean, he's all those things I've aspired to be, so there you go.
I just want to share with you how Isabel wants to, you know, keep up with everything that's going on. She has asked me to take her along to the Saratoga to the Saturday afternoon jam session. For those of you that don't know what the Saratoga is, after 9 o'clock on Saturdays, it's the local strip joint.
It wouldn't surprise me that many of the amateur and professional musicians in town found a place to jam. Well, the only thing that would surprise me is after 9 o'clock, if they know you by name, I'm really, really concerned. Anybody else before I can tell you there's something that was shared with me that I want to share with you. What? I'm sorry, go ahead.
Franny was saying
Fred.
you used to play baseball, and her husband used
Her husband's a former professional baseball player, Glenn was, and he taught me how to swing the bat and catch the ball and get your butt down, Barry. I'll never forget that. So I wouldn't have. I played second base mostly because I had a lousy arm, and he taught me what little I was able to retain when it came to baseball. It was their backyard that I would run over and play in, because he had one of the nicest backyards, by the way. You know, alley neighbors. My cousins had to leave early. Lane needs to go out under the ceiling and then over the ceiling. I don't know, talk to Toby. But the bottom line is we have a lot of alleys in town, and they hadn't seen those since they grew up in the city of Chicago, but they're in the burbs. And the idea of alleys and all the things we take for granted, like all the space between South End and downtown and alleys, and I tasked it as I gave them a little tour this morning around some houses that their family had grown up in, and because they originally had family here. And they're just not used to all still being in Superior. You know, they don't think of the fact that it's spread out so much. But someone shared with me something I just wanted to share with you, and I think it comes true here today, and that is the three most important things that this gentleman shared with me, and I've always retained, is friends, family, and faith. And I'd just like to share with you that my mother is a very public person, as is her son, but faith to my mother has always been very important. She knows where she stands with God. It's pretty neat to watch somebody who's that outgoing in her everyday life to also know that she prays every day and that she has maintained a tradition of, you know, no offense, but it's easier to be a Lutheran in town, okay? It really is, because you maintain in a community your faith and the way in which you practice that faith, and then ecumenicalism, the acceptance in Superior has always been wonderful. And my mother has really lived that all her life. Family. Family is so important that, in fact, you saw family that have come from many places and, in fact, are here today to share this really wonderful day. And family's always been important. I hear stories again and again how I'm cousins with people I don't even know I'm cousins. I may be cousins over here 17 times removed. I just learned that today. I'm pleased to hear that. But it's always how the families connect. But that other really important one that my father, may rest in peace, and my mother have never let go, and that's what we're here today, and that's friends. Friends, if you're friends with Isabel, and she's never met a stranger, if you're friends with Isabel, it isn't very long, if you choose, yet you're part of her family as well. There were people at our dinner table, or people at the grocery store, people in my mother's life that were asked into our family as though they're family. I just met somebody today that's always welcome. There are people here that have been coming to my mother's house when I've long since not lived there, when I'm not there to see my mother. And now their children, and wherever Ben and, there they are, Ben and David come as the next, now what, third generation, second generation of kids that are coming by my mother, picking her up, taking her to the theater, going out to lunch, visiting my mother. I will tell you that faith, family, and friends have really come together in my mind, in my mother, and that's why we're all here to celebrate together your 90th birthday. I will tell you, you're pretty amazing, Mom, and this is just another way to let you know that this is your day, and this is our way of saying to you, we love you, and we want many, many more, as bright and as sharp and as wonderful as today is. So, if you wanted to say something, you're going to come up and light a candle, and we're going to sing a song you may recognize, and then we give these people dessert. So,
all I can say is thank you all for coming. It's been wonderful to see friends so close, and know that you took the time to come out and join us. Thank you so much. I'm doing it.
You guys also? Okay. Okay. Sure.
Sing happy birthday or did you want to?
Is that right?
Okay. We were going to have 90 candles, but of course the fire marshal said no, so, oh, I'm sorry.
We got a 90.
Okay, guys, spread back so we can blow. Are you ready? Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Isabel. Happy birthday to you. Make a wish.
We don't have to say how.
Do I need to pull this forward?
No.